Hey everybody, just want to do a quick update on my office tank here. I've been having problems with my heater and the tank temperature came all the way down to 71 degrees. I've got a Bolivian ram in this tank that's already been ill, and when I noticed that the water temperature was so low, his behavior had changed, his color had changed. So I don't think it had been a long time since the heater had broken. I don't know if I gave the impression or not that the heater had been broken for a long period of time. I don't think that that's what's causing the illness within the fish, but it was certainly exacerbating it. Whether I've been medicating the fish or not, with the temperature that low, it was never going to recover. So I think it was only a few days that the temperature was low. As soon as I noticed the behavior and coloration of the fish had changed, I began investigating. And when I did a water change is when I noticed that the temperature was so low. So all I was able to do at the time was scrounge this little heater out of my quarantine tank in the basement. It's unplugged at the moment, but I'm leaving it in the tank. It was on when I turned it off, so I'm just leaving it there until it comes down to a more manageable temperature. I'm sure it is by now, but it doesn't matter. It's just kind of sitting there cooling off. While I was using that, I ordered a digital heater that will tell me what the temperature in this tank is. Most of my tanks are fine, even if the heaters stop working. The heaters are almost a secondary backup in case for some reason the tank temperatures get too low. The heater will kick on and prevent them from getting too cold. But room temperature in most of my tanks is fine. This is one of the tanks that has a fish that needs a little bit warmer water. The Bolivian rams, they don't need the temperatures that the German blue rams, they need in excess of 80 degrees. I've heard a lot of people will even keep them in the upper 80s, 85, 86 degrees easily for the German blues. The Bolivians don't need that warm of water, but they do need warmer water than guppies and neons and a lot of fish that can live comfortably in the mid to low 70s. The Bolivian ram is not one of those fish. So with this little heater here, you can see it did bring the temperature up. We're now coming up to 26 degrees, but it was 25 degrees. That translates roughly to about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've got it set for 27. So we're going to go up one more degrees Celsius at 27. That'll put us right in the neighborhood of about 78 degrees in this tank. So the issue I'm going to start running into now with the warmer water in this tank, being that it's open top, is I'm probably going to have to top this tank off more frequently because that warmer water is going to want to evaporate out of the tank a little more. So at 78, it's still not warm enough that I really need to worry about an air stone, especially with this tank's footprint. It's shallow and broad, so it's got a lot of surface area to its depth. So I don't think I need to worry about oxygenating the tank, but the warmer the water is, the less capable it is of holding oxygen. So when you're starting to get into those temperatures I was talking about with the German blue rams, the GBRs, you need to start thinking about putting an air stone in once you get above, I would say, 82 degrees. I would say an air stone is almost mandatory once you get up above 82, maybe 83 degrees. The water just does not hold a lot of oxygen at that point, and you've got to really, really work to keep the gas exchange happening and keep as much oxygen available as possible. So I won't have to worry about that. I think I can still get away with not having an air stone in this tank, but that is something to think about if your temperatures are getting a little higher. I was waiting to see if this guy was going to come out or not, make an appearance. Now, if you saw the other day, if you watched my update video, you'll know that, well, I don't know if we got much of a look at it, but the coloration on this fish was really, really dark. I've never seen it so dark. It was actually beautiful, but it was worrisome. Some fish will get darker when they get stressed out. I know gouramis will get darker when they get stressed out, whereas a lot of fish might wash out in color. Some will actually darken. And when I saw this one darken up, I saw its fins just kind of, not clamped per se, but they were very still. It was just kind of sitting there. It was very sluggish. Its normal curious behavior wasn't there. It wasn't feeding properly. And then once I got this smaller heater in the tank, within hours, it was beginning to behave differently. In fact, before the heater even had time to get the tank warmed up, I actually did a water change and brought warmer water into the tank and brought the temperature up physically fairly rapidly. I brought the temperature up about 8 degrees in about an hour, and it didn't seem to have any ill effect on anybody. In fact, my little Bolivian ram right there began acting a little more normal as I was bringing the temperature up like that. And now, after a day and a half, its color has gone back to normal. It actually looks kind of bland and washed out, and that's sort of what they normally look like. Maybe if it was an adult and a mating, in prime breeding condition or something like that, spawning colors, it might be a little more vibrant. But normally they're not rich and dark and deep tones like it was the other day. So I'm very happy to see that it's starting to uncolor. And now that we've got a more significant heater, that is a 100 watt heater, whereas I believe this is a 50 watt heater. In fact, that might even be a 25 watt heater. This thing is so small. I'm not even sure if it's for a 10-gallon tank, but I mean, you can see compared to my hand, it's a tiny little thing. So that might be for like a 5 to 10-gallon tank, 10 gallons being the maximum it could handle. But I just use it in my quarantine tank downstairs. And again, it's only there as sort of an emergency backup if for some reason, maybe in the winter time, if I'm in and out using the Bilko doors, hauling some stuff in and out, the temperature in the basement might drop. And in those circumstances, my heaters will come on and my tanks will warm up. But for the most part, room temperature downstairs is just fine, so I'm not sweating it. I will, however, be taking that back down, sticking it back in the tank now that I don't need it here anymore, and we'll get that tank back up and running properly. So that's my little update. We've already come up to the 27 degrees, and you can see the little red light has turned off, indicating that we are no longer heating the tank, and that is simply a measurement there, a temperature reading telling me that the tank is currently 27 degrees, which is where I want to see it sitting. So now I've got a little bit of a visual cue in there. We can go ahead and just pull this out. I'm certain that's down to a safe temperature at this point. I'll also throw in real quick while I was in there, just to make some room for the heater so the water can flow around it properly. I removed some Java windelov, so I will, as usual, put my email down below. If you're interested in Java Fern or Water Sprite, I've got lots of both. And as you just saw, I've got a lot of the Java windelov available right now. In fact, I got a lot of the Java windelov available. I've got more of that than the Water Sprite at the moment. So if you're interested in aquatic plants, send me an email. We'll talk. I promise you'll get lots of plants for your money, and we'll make it nice and easy and fun, and everybody will be happy. So make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss anything I got coming up. You never know what it's going to be with me. Don't forget, this one is my 20-gallon office tank. Thanks for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.